Hi everyone, this is David Taylor from the Effective Writing Center. And it's great to be with you here today to talk about your first essay assignment, the personal narrative essay. So what we're going to do in this video is first take a look at the assignment instructions, go through them very thoroughly. And then we're going to take a look at a model paper. In other words, you're going to have a bird's eye view of how one student took those instructions and implemented them into an essay that got a top grade. That's going to be great for you to see. So let's begin first by taking a look at the assignment instructions. As you see, your task is to narrate an event or describe your interactions with a person from past work or community experiences. It might be helpful to think of describing your interactions as another way of saying narrating. So the assignment comes down to narrating an event or narrating interactions with a person. Length of the paper is 800 to 1200 words, which is 2.5 to 4 pages, not counting your title page, of course. Be sure to use APA style, Times New Roman 12 point, which is required for this assignment. The directions also provide important advice about choosing a topic. You're advised to consider a person or event in your work or community that was important to you. Why the emphasis on important? Because the most effective narratives are those that have a strong emotional appeal and that your reader can relate to. The next piece of advice is also crucial. Avoid choosing a broad event like what you learned about yourself in middle school, or how being a parent has made you a better person. Instead, you want an event whose beginning and ending occur over a defined and relatively brief period of time. Looking at the examples provided, you see that they all have a definite beginning, a definite end, and a definite meaning. Organization. For this assignment, it's important to remember that you're still writing an essay, not a short story. That means you will have a typical introduction paragraph that presents the topic, provides background context, and leads to a thesis statement that contains the theme you're trying to convey. For example, the first time I was fired from a job made me a better employee. With this thesis, the reader knows what specific event will be narrated and its importance. The thesis doesn't have to outline the entire essay. Now to the body of the essay. Its purpose, like the body of any essay, is to develop the thesis. Since this is a narrative essay, you will be using narrative details to develop the thesis in your body paragraphs. Again, remember, this is an essay, not a short story. Therefore, the paragraphs must be in a logical order of some type, such as chronological order or order of importance. Most of all, as you present narrative details in the body paragraphs, be sure to make clear how those details relate to the essay's thesis, as we will see demonstrated in the model essay. The conclusion paragraph can follow many strategies, including talking about implications for the future, putting the topic in a broader context, and so forth. For example, the conclusion paragraph of an essay focused on our example thesis, "The first time I was fired from a job made me a better employee," could briefly mention the narrator's success in his or her next job, or talk about how becoming a valuable employee is a process that takes place over time with a series of learning experiences. Lastly, keep in mind that the essay should follow all aspects of APA formatting without an abstract, so be sure to watch and follow this video link. Feel free to pause it and restart that video as necessary to ensure your manuscript fits the APA format precisely. With these assignment requirements in mind, let's look at the model paper by Marshall Hughes. First, the APA title page. In the top left is the running head, so called because it's a title that appears at the head or top of the paper and appears on each page, meaning it runs. Again, be sure to follow this video closely on how to create this running head. Also keep in mind the running head is different on the title page than on all the other pages, so you should know the trick shown in the video. Then comes the info block, which in this case consists of the full title of your paper, your name, and the name of the school. Let's briefly review the rules for title capitalization. First, always capitalize the first word of a title, no matter what that word is. Second, capitalize all other words except the articles a, and the, and prepositions and conjunctions if they're fewer than 4 letters, of, to, and, but, etc. As you can see, Marshall's title is perfect, with the article A in lowercase. Also note that the info block is double-spaced. This brings up an important point about your APA manuscript. Everything in it is double-spaced. Nothing less and nothing more. Next, note that the paper's main title is repeated at the top of the first body page. How My Boss Made Me a Better Professional. The introduction paragraph should present the topic of the paper, then the necessary background information that leads to the thesis statement at the end of the paragraph. Let's read. When I began working for the Maryland Aviation Administration, it was the first position I'd ever held within a state office. Good job of introducing the topic. Now here comes that necessary background context. I can remember being extremely nervous at the thought of adjusting to a whole new working environment. When I met my supervisor that morning, it was like being introduced to myself, just a more experienced version of myself. We had the same expertise, we enjoyed the same hobbies, and we were even around the same age. So now that we've been introduced to the topic, we've now been provided background information on the situation and the person who will be the focus of the essay. Now it's time for the thesis. Throughout my professional career, I have worked under supervisors and alongside colleagues with varying levels of experience. And now the heart of the thesis. But none of them have helped me develop professionally quite like my supervisor at the Maryland Aviation Administration, Richard Moore. So that was a very clever choice by the writer to save the name of this person for the end of the sentence. This writer obviously knows that the information at the end receives the most emphasis. And that's one of the reasons the thesis goes at the end of your introduction paragraph. Okay, now to the first body paragraph. Remember what we're looking for in a body paragraph. An opening sentence that serves as a sort of topic sentence that will be developed with narrative details because you're writing a narrative essay. In the body's paragraph, we will also expect the writer to tell us how these details relate to the thesis or theme just stated in the intro. In this case, that theme is the professional development experienced under the supervision of Richard Moore. Let's read the first body paragraph. My supervisor made it a point early in my tenure to meet with me on a weekly basis and discuss ongoing projects and any problems or issues we could foresee. There's our topic sentence. In other words, what this paragraph will be about. During one of these meetings, he explained I would be taking over a project for an individual who had left the organization. While I saw this as cleaning up someone else's mess, Rick saw it as an opportunity for me to show the skills he had been helping me to develop. And there it is, a clear explanation of how the narrative detail, taking over someone else's mess, is going to be related to professional development, the essay's overall theme. Throughout the process of organizing and implementing this project, I was given just enough room to make small mistakes and learn from them without affecting the final outcome of the project. The experience I gained from this was invaluable at the time and allowed me also to get an idea of the organizational structure of the company when I needed to communicate items to other divisions in regards to the project. And now comes the paragraph's conclusion sentence that brings together the narrative details of the paragraph with the overall thesis of the essay. At the conclusion of the project, I was much more confident in my ability to accurately and properly handle the task that I had previously worried about, which is another way of saying he had developed more as a professional. Now, the second body paragraph. Once again, we begin with a clear topic sentence that serves as an umbrella for what the paragraph will discuss. Rick's continued support. The paragraph begins, Rick went above and beyond and made it his job to ensure I was adjusting and that I would be an asset to our team there. Now that the paragraph's topic sentence has been established, the writer will add narrative details to support it. He writes, I began taking on more responsibility, like representing our business unit at monthly system and security working groups, and leading network and security projects from start to finish. With each project, I could start to see that my supervisor was shaping me all along. My supervisor saw what I was able to handle and noticed that I was eager to advance myself and take on as much responsibility as I could. I would start by asking for more involvement and more responsibility. He even mentioned to me on a few occasions that individuals I worked with on projects had sent commendations complimenting my ability to complete and close projects on a timely basis, even under strict deadlines, and that it was a pleasure working with me. My boss saw this as an opportunity to push me even further. Notice that concluding statement. My boss saw this as an opportunity to push me even further. That makes the reader anticipate the writer being pushed further in the next paragraphs. So let's go to the next body paragraph. My supervisor was able to see that I learned best by performing the task myself and would give me just enough support when it was required, but would not overextend himself and monitor me every step along the way. So, the writer uses a topic sentence to convey a key insight about himself as a professional, that he learns best by performing tasks himself, and then continues with the narrative details that support this very insight. He knew that I would come to him if I had a question, but just as much as I didn't like having solutions or answers handed to me, he did not intend to hand out solutions. It was exciting to push myself to complete things that at first glance I didn't believe I was ready for. And now comes another great paragraph conclusion sentence that brings together the content of the paragraph with the overall theme of professional development. By forcing myself to take on these added tasks and responsibilities head on, it gave me the confidence to control and follow each task to completion. The final body paragraph follows the same successful structure. My supervisor and I became close friends both inside and out of work, sharing the same work ethic, sharing the same interest in technology, and having the same background. We would find ourselves reaching out to each other to resolve complex issues. Now come the narrative details to support what was just said. I specialized in networking and security, while my supervisor specialized in software and server administration. Between the two of us, we were able to collaborate and troubleshoot any issue that would arise in the enterprise. It got to the point that my supervisor would call me and get advice when he was troubleshooting network-related issues and needed a new set of eyes to look at a problem. And I would do the same when I ran into a server issue I was unfamiliar with. Now the paragraph's concluding sentence that echoes the essay's overall theme. Our skill sets complemented each other, but the enterprise knowledge he gave me for communicating and the processes will stick with me forever. In the conclusion paragraph, you see that the writer chose the future strategy by summarizing what became of the relationship and, more importantly, to reflect upon the lasting influences of Richard Moore in the author's future. He writes, I no longer work for the Maryland Aviation Administration and have moved to a different state agency within the Maryland Department of Transportation. But I still keep in touch with my old supervisor. He helped me grow and develop into the professional that I am today. I've held quite a few jobs in varying domains of security in various industries, but this man was by far the closest thing I've ever had to a mentor. He went out of his way to ensure I was developing skills that I can use for the rest of my life in my professional career. He has always made himself available to be a reference for me, and I can only hope that one day I will be able to return the favor to him. So there you go, a well-written narrative essay that focuses on a key event, or in this case, a key interaction that occurred over a specific amount of time. The paper follows a strong essay structure of an introduction with clear thesis, followed by 3 or more body paragraphs that introduce a key idea, then develop it with narrative details, and then finally ends with a short conclusion paragraph. This essay is about 880 words, and it follows APA formatting exactly. Most of all, if you do all the things this essay does, your chances of success will be greatly enhanced. Remember, we at the Effective Writing Center are always around 24/7 to give you feedback on your writing during any stage. Our service is free and it's fast. We return all drafts with full commentary within 48 hours. Okay, good luck and have fun.